back like we never left. It's Double Move Sports. Flying solo today, wanted to hop on here and talk about some of the biggest topics I'm seeing right now for Dynasty rookie drafts, talking about these 2021 NFL prospects. This Travis Etienne hype, man. Travis Etienne weighing in at 215 pounds. I'm seeing him jump from the RB3 to the RB1 in this class. I'm seeing him jump to the 101 in Superflex leagues. I know without the combine this year, we're taking the 40 times with a grain of salt, maybe add in 0.05, something like that. I see 0.05 to 0.08, depending on what outlet I'm reading, but we're taking the 40 times with a grain of salt. I'm not taking these weigh-ins with a grain of salt, even with it just being the pro days. And man, when Etienne hit that 215, Twitter went nuts. He flew up those boards. But I want to talk about Kenny Gainwell, because I think he's a really interesting running back. I think in this class, there's a big three, a strong big three. As far as consensus goes, it's Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Javonte Williams. And I'm seeing Kenny Gainwell at that fourth spot, maybe the fifth behind Chuba Hubbard. But there's really three running backs we feel pretty confident in, assuming they get the draft capital. Jamar Jefferson, if he gets the draft capital, he will be very interesting. He will fly up rookie drafts. But with Kenny Gainwell, I'm seeing him right now in most Dynasty rookie mocks going in the early to mid second round. Again, that RB4 to RB6 range in this class. And I don't know if I like that ADP at all if Gainwell is still the same weight he was the last time we saw him play in 2019. So if you don't know the story, Gainwell lost 4 family members to COVID-19. Absolutely just, that makes your heart stop to think about. But then Gainwell did end up opting out of the 2020 season. Gainwell was extremely electric in college. An absolute stud coming out of that Memphis backfield that produced Tony Pollard, Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson was in that mix. He got decent draft capital. We were riding high for him for a minute. But Kenny Gainwell, as a redshirt freshman in 2019, played 14 games, 231 carries on the ground, splitting a backfield with Antonio Gibson, 1,459 rushing yards. So that's an average of 6.3 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns on the ground. And then where it gets really interesting, 51 receptions, 610 yards for 3 touchdowns through the air. So an average of 12 yards per reception, 51 of those. You don't see that happen with many running backs in college. And that's why Kenny Gainwell has a lot of hype. He's an electric playmaker. He's an explosive weapon. But if he's still at 191 when we saw him in 2019, if he did not put on any weight, which I really doubt, which is why I'm kind of making this take, putting it out there, because if we see Gainwell weigh in at even just 200 pounds, that 200 number, it's a magic number. We need running backs in Dynasty that we want to invest high-end rookie picks into, especially this year with the depth at wide receiver. There may be some good quarterback options depending on who gets draft capital in the early second round of your drafts. There would be much safer options, high floor options than a Kenny Gainwell is going to be. We have the Memphis Pro Day coming up in 4 days. So it's on the 19th. And that's going to do a lot for Gainwell, not only for his draft capital come April in the draft, but also as Dynasty players, whether we want to invest in him. Because if we look at the last 5 seasons, looking at just the top 24 running backs, so RB1s and RB2s, there's only 6 running backs under 200 pounds that have been top 24 running backs, even in PPR leagues. So I'm using PPR leagues here because I'm even trying to give the benefit of the doubt to the pass-catching running backs, these guys who aren't going to be between the tackles, grinders. They're not going to be truck sticking anybody. That's typically the role a running back's going to play if they're smaller in stature. And half the time, these guys aren't even RB2s in standard or half-point PPR leagues. Here's the list. It's Nyheim Hines, weighs in at 198. J.D. McKissick, who's at 187. Phillip Lindsay, 184 pounds. Tariq Cohen, 179. And, I mean, we're seeing he can't really hold up that well in the league. I mean, missed most of 2020. Dion Lewis, 193 pounds. Darren Sproles, this is back in 2016. Darren Sproles, 185 coming in. So you need your running backs to be at least 200 pounds if they're going to be an elite fantasy producer. I mean, best case scenario, if Kenny Gainwell, unless he's an extreme statistical outlier, if he weighs in sub 200, and for him to have even just multiple RB1 seasons, to have even one RB1 season, it's just he's more likely to be a guy playing these roles like a J.D. McKissick, like Nyheim Hines. They're more situation-based. They're going to need a quarterback who's checking it down. They need to be utilized in the offense and relied upon, and can easily get phased out with, let's say, a running back who has a 3-down skill set like a Najee Harris. Now, if Gainwell does weigh in over 200, I think he's going to creep up draft boards. I think he's going to go higher in the draft. I could see him being a back of the first round rookie pick if the weigh-in is there. If it's at the same level of Travis Etienne, where we're like, we need him to weigh in at 210 plus, and he comes in at 215. If Kenny Gainwell can do the same thing, now, I mean, we're asking a guy to add on 10, 15 pounds. Now, without playing a season, maybe that's a little bit easier, right? You're not training as hard. You're not in season. You don't have that cardio training that's quite there. If you're just getting big in the gym on a strict meal plan, like, I think it's completely doable for Gainwell to be at 200 plus. And guys at 200 are Austin Eckler. These are guys like Christian McCaffrey, weighed in at 202. Kareem Hunt, who weighed in at 201. That 200, it's a magic number. You need your running backs to weigh in there. And as I was kind of prepping for this rant here, I just Googled, quick Google search. I found a college project for a stats 422 class. And I was just looking at running back average weight. It was like a study of NFL weight by position average. It was actually pretty interesting. But running backs on average are 214.48 pounds in the NFL. So, and wide receivers are right at 200. So you need your running backs ideally to be well over 200. But for a guy like Kenny Gainwell, as explosive as he is, as good as a pass-catching weapon as he is, he's a guy you can even line him up outside, put him in the slots, run outside of the backfield, whatever you need him to do in the passing game, he's going to be able to get that done. Put him in the right situation, he's going to be insane. But I need that 200 number for him to be there. If I'm going to take him at, say, the 201, 202, maybe if he weighs in at like 210, he can be a low-end first-round pick. And it's crazy to think that so much of a player's stock can be tied up in what they weigh in at their pro day, but it matters. It matters. It's going to get me a lot more excited for a profile of production just like Kenny Gainwell's, if he has the correct measurables, the measurables that we're looking for. You know, typically you want a running back to be, 6 foot 220. I think those days are behind us, and the position is getting not quite as big. We're seeing more of like the Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, 210, 215, as opposed to the bulking, 220, the Carlos Hydes of the world, the Jordan Howards of the world. But yeah, I mean, this pro day is going to be huge for Kenny Gainwell. I want to see him do well. He's an exciting player. Heart goes out to him for what he had to go through in 2020. I just want to see this guy succeed in the NFL, and I want to invest in him in Dynasty just because he's so fun to watch. So, Kenny, if you're watching, please give us that 200-pound weigh-in. Chug a gallon of water before you hit the scale, whatever you have to do. But that's it for today's show. If you guys like what we're doing here, two things, man. We're trying to build this out into a community, not just me and Alex hopping on here and throwing our takes. We want to interact with you guys. We want to start doing some leagues against you guys and just creating a cool place where we can all just share our opinions and thoughts on players, league settings, trades. So I'll put our Discord link to our Discord community down in the comments below. If you don't know what Discord is, it's just a program kind of like, Facebook Messenger, or like for those of you old enough to remember, we had AOL, IM, We'd love to chat with you guys there. Again, I'll put the link down below, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.